What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is Web Dev Journey, and today we're going to be finishing up our speaker service and implementing the service in our main application. Now, there's one thing I do want to mention is that this feedback service, I'm not going to be doing it in a video because it's literally the same process that we're doing for our speaker service. And I actually want you guys to do that on your own, so that way you have something to do instead of watch a video. Actually try to implement something. And obviously you need to have experience in coding on yourself, by yourself, without any help, or at least without me doing a video on it. Because you can look at the past videos on the speaker service and figure it out there. So yeah, just letting you know, we're not doing the feedback service. This is already going to be done for us. I'm not even going to worry about that. Also, before we get started, I just want to mention, if you do want to support me, there is a Patreon page down below. So that way you could, if you feel like supporting me, that you could do it there. Also, let's just get started right into it, because this might take a while. This might be a long video, honestly. So to finish up our service, our speaker service, what we need to do is implement the logic for our routes. Now that logic is already implemented in a class, which is in our art-meetup. So I'm gonna just copy that, and it's inside server, our services, our speakers service, or speakers.js. This is where our methods live, and I'm gonna just literally copy this, and what I'm gonna do is inside the speaker service, inside of server, I'm creating a new folder. I'm gonna call it lib, and I'm gonna just paste that service inside of there, and paste, and now we have our speaker.js. Now looking at our speaker.js, you're going to see that we're reading a file in, and that file is actually passed from our constructor. So we do need to get that file name as well, or our data. So let's do that as well. So inside of our art-meetup, we're going to be, before I do that, let me actually add this art-meetup in GitHub, so that way you can pull and then follow along if you want to. Okay, so I just added that to GitHub, so there you go. All right, now where were we? Oh yeah, inside of our art-meetup, what we need to do is grab this data file. So I'm just copy this and paste it inside of speaker service. It's going to be inside the main directory, so just paste it and get rid of feedback.json, because we don't need that for this service. We only need the speakers.json. Okay, now that we have that, let's just configure a little bit of more things. So as you can see in data config index.js, we do have this speakers path that grabs our data file. So what I'm gonna do is just copy this and minimize that. In our config for speaker service, I'm gonna just add that in there. Well, actually, I'm gonna add it in 3 spots, so best to do it this way. Paste it, delete that, and then comma. Done. So now we have where it lives, and we also have the data and our speaker.js, speakers.js, all the methods, right? So let's actually instantiate this, meaning calling this and using it. So still inside speaker service, let's go to service.js and then call it up above, or grab it. So const speakers, we're going to set that equal to require, and that lives in lib/speakers. Now let's instantiate that. So const speaker is going to equal new speakers, and we do need to pass in that data file, and that lives in config.data.speakers. Did I say speakers right? Okay, speakers, yes. There we go. And now we could use it. So let's use it down here. We do need to make this async. Async. Try something, if not catch with the error. And what are we going to do is literally return next error. All right, So for our list route, what I want to do is literally just return res.json. JSON. There we go. And in here, I'm just await speakers. Okay, what? Speakers dot get list. We're going to be using the functions or the methods. So dot get list. And that's that for that one. Copy this. In here, don't forget to add the async. This is for list short, and that's literally get list short async or home, paste it, and this is for names, and that's get names async, and this is, what is this? Oh, the speaker. So dot get speaker, and we do need to pass in the short name, so that lives in rec dot params dot short name. I'm gonna copy this with the same thing. Copy, paste. Don't forget to do the async. I keep on saying that, but yes, don't forget to do the async because it's not going to work. And this is get all. Ooh, we still need that route for all artworks. Anyways, this is for get artwork for specific one. Okay, and now we actually do need that get all artwork. So I'm gonna call this art works, and this is going to be get all artwork. There we go. Control S, and there we're actually done with our speaker service as far as the routes go. Let's test them out. To test it out, you do need to have your service registry running, so npm start, and you also need to have obviously our speaker service running, so npm start on this part as well. And oh, path, that's right, path. Go back over here. In our path for config, we are using path to get the absolute path, so we do need to require that. So const path is going to equal require path. It's not a hard error to debug. So let's actually open this up, and there we go. And if we look at node, we do have, you see that? We do have our service registered. And now we need to grab our port number, which your port number is going to be different. Don't forget about that. And let's try it out. Let's go to localhost and then paste that. And let's try to get the list. And look at that. We actually have a list. Let's get list dash short. Let's try a few more, and then let's get names. Oh, and everything seems to be working just fine, which is great. So now that we have our speaker service running, let's actually implement it in our main application, which is art-meetup. So in art-meetup, let's go to services and speakers.js. We're going to be using this exact same file. The reason why is because this art-meetup is already coded to use these methods: get names, get list short. All we need to do is just redo what's inside these methods, obviously, because we're not doing it this way no more. So how do we actually connect these two? Our main application using a service. Well, first things first, we need to grab that specific service from our service registry. That will give us the IP and the port number where it lives, so that way we could start calling that service. So first, grabbing that service. Second of all, we do need to call that service to actually grab those routes, the names, the list, the artwork, and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do to make my life or our life a little bit more simpler is create two methods, async. And like I said, the first thing we need to do is grab that service. So I'm gonna just call this get service. Oh, and it's going to take a parameter, which is going to be service name. What is the service that we want to grab, right, from the service registry? So I'm gonna say const res is going to equal await. And obviously, to do this, we're going to be using Axios to actually make requests. So let's npm install that right now. So inside of art-meetup, npm I Axios. And while that's doing it, let's include it up here. Const Axios going to equal require Axios. All right, awesome. Now we could actually use it. So const res is going to equal await Axios. And what we want to do is do a get method to the service registry, which we already know where it lives. So I'm gonna do ticks http:// localhost, and that lives in port 3000. And we're gonna get the find route to find a registry, and we do need to give that route two things, which is our the service name and the version that we want. So service name comes from the parameters or the argument. So right here, $, service name. And for right now, I'm actually going to hard code in the version, which is going to be the major version 1. So we should grab a version or the major version, any major version that has a 1 as the major version. I said major so many times right there. Anyways, now that we have that service, it's going to give us everything that we need. So we need to return this. So return res.data. Now, if you didn't know, Axios, when you use Axios, it actually stores everything inside a property called data. So that's why we're just returning res.data. And that's it. So this is a method to help us grab the service that we want. Now, I'm going to create another method, async, that's going to help us, call the service that we just got back. So I'm going to say call service. And this is going to have a rec options, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about once we start using this one. But basically, what method is it? What URL do you want to go? If anything else you want to add to headers and all that stuff. So right here, I'm gonna say const. I don't even know what the hell I typed right there. Const res, and we're gonna set this equal to await Axios, and we're going to have that rec options inside of here, and you'll understand what's happening once we start using it. Don't worry about that. And then once we get our stuff back, or our whatever we call it back, if it's artwork list in this case, we're going to do res.data. Just return the res.data that we got back. All right, so let's actually do the very first one. Let me go all the way up, and that's get names. So I'm gonna just delete everything inside of here, and let's use our little methods or helper methods that we just made. So I'm gonna say const IP port. I'm gonna destructure it because we're going to grab everything from await this dot get service, and we do need to pass in the service name. And in this case, the service name that we want is the speakers dash service, or whatever name you actually named your speaker service. I named it speaker service. Just pass in the service that you want. And you could also check which one it is if you go to speaker services, and you see right here. Let me go. Well, it doesn't really matter. It says updated services, the speaker service. This is my name or my service, the name of the service that I want, which is speaker service, which is great. Anyways, so now we have, once we do that, we have the IP and port from that, and now we could use it. So I'm gonna call the other method, return this dot call service, and we do need to set some properties in here. So I'm gonna do an object with some properties. All right, so the method we're going to be using is get, and the URL is going to be, you already know, or ticks anyways, http :// the IP we just got back, IP : and the port number, port. And what service or what route do you want to hit from this speaker service location? And we want to grab, what is names? So we want to grab the names. And that's pretty much it. That's how we actually use our services in our main application. It's pretty simple, isn't it? So I'm gonna copy this because it's going to be the exact same thing for every one of them, or almost. For list short, it's going to be list dash short. For list, it's, oh man, I copied it instead of pasting it. So copy this, paste this. It's going to be list. And what is this? Get all artwork. I think we named this artworks. Artworks. And this one, what is this? Get speaker. Speaker slash, and I'm gonna pass in the short name. There we go, the one we passed in right there. And then paste artwork. So this is what, oh, this is exactly the same thing as this. So I'm just copy this. It's artwork slash for that short name. Okay, control save it, and let's see if this actually works. All right, let me see if it actually works. So what we could do is we have our service registry, our speaker service running. Now we just need to run our main application. So npm start. Awesome. And by the way, I did change the port for our main application. That actually lives on localhost 3080. And look at that. It actually works, guys. We're actually grabbing our speaker services and all our stuff, our, you know, so click on one. Oh, look at that. That kind of sucks. Let's see what's happening here. Look at this. I'm looking at, I haven't fixed it yet, but look at this. It's saying that, hey, we're trying to grab artwork slash WDJ. I don't even know where that second slash. So let's make sure our art meetups and speakers is actually, let me see. Oh, look at that. We have two slashes here. My mistake. Let's actually redo that again. So delete one of those. Make sure it's just one slash. Let me do this and restart it again. Damn. npm start. Now it should work, right? Yeah, there it goes. It works. My bad. That was my fault. Let me try another one. Santa Claus. There you go. It's working. So everything's working, which is really, really great. Now, here comes the step where a lot of developers don't want to do just because it's very, very tedious, but it needs to be done. And that is cleanup. There are some redundancies in our main application where we don't need it at. Okay, we don't need it, period. So for instance, in our, let me get rid of this and minimize it so that way. Okay, we're still in our art-meetup, our main application. So in our main application in the speakers.js, we're not using the read file no more because we're not reading a file, nor are we using util or fs. So I'm going to get rid of all that. We're not passing in a constructor or passing in a data file because there's no need to since we're not reading anything. So get rid of this as well. Also down below, we still have this get data, which we don't need. So that's that for our speaker.js. Control save this. Now in our data, we don't need the speakers JSON because we're not reading it from there anymore. It's not the main application's job to read it no more. So delete that. And now let's do our config. We still have that speakers which we don't need. Let's delete that. Oh, we can add some stuff in here though. So we're going to add some more properties. And one of them is going to be the URL because we already know the URL for our service registry. That's important because this is the URL that we're always going to use to, you know, grab services and use them. So this is a pretty good property to actually add in here. And I'm going to actually go and just do it at the same time. So I'm gonna call it service registry URL. And I'm going to say http://local host port 3000. We know that it lives there. Okay, and another thing I want to add in here is the version identifier. Our versions, what versions do we want to use in our application? So for right now, the only version we have is a 1, but we could specify like a 1.2, 1.1 later on if we ever do have versions of it. So I'm gonna call this service version, and I'm gonna just say for right now I'm gonna do 1.x.x and Semver, not comma. And Semver will take care of the .x.x, meaning that Semver is going to say, hey, he wants the major version to be 1. So it doesn't really matter what these are. It could be 1.1.1, 1.2.1. We've been over this already. So control save this. Now in our speaker service, what we could do is destructure that. And I'm going to just copy them. Grab that and also grab the, copy that, paste that right there. And we're going to say this dot service URL is going to equal service registry URL, and this dot service version is going to equal service version, and we could use that down below right here. So instead of this, it's going to be this dot service registry URL, and the version, I'm gonna just copy this. This dot service version, and just to be safe, copy paste, and that's it for that. Now in our index.js, we do need to pass in just the config for speakers right there, just the config. And since we're destructuring it over here, it's just going to destructure all the config, which we get back, which is all this, and we're just grabbing the service registry and the service version from that. So control save this, and to make sure everything is still working, since we deleted a couple of things, let's try it out one more time. So open this up. Yes. npm start. Start. And let's open up our application, refresh, and it looks like everything is still working just fine. Yep. Oh, speakers. Yeah, everything is still working just fine, which is great. Now, there is still one more thing we gotta do. I know it's a lot of things, but we still have to do it. And we're cheating quite a bit. We're still cheating just a tiny bit. And the reason why I say I'm cheating is because inside of public in our main application, I'll get rid of this. Inside of public, we still have the images for our, speakers, right? And we also have the speaker images, which our main application shouldn't worry about the artwork or the speaker images. It shouldn't. This should be handed off to the speaker service. So we do need to do something about that, and we are going to fix it. So what I'm going to do is copy images, copy this, speaker service. Inside of data, I'm going to create a new folder, images. And then inside of there, damn it. I already copied the whole folder. Why did I make another folder? Well, in that case, I'm just copy the artwork. Well, the artwork and speakers. Just copy that. There we go. And then paste it in here. All right. So now inside of images, in our speaker service, inside of images, we have the artwork and the speakers. Now we do need to do something about that and use it over here, not here, in our server, service.js. Now you might be tempted to use routes for this, and honestly, that's perfectly okay. You can use routes for this, but for me, this is a perfect excuse, not excuse, but this is a perfect example where you could actually use express.static to grab the static assets, which in this case is our images. So up above, right before the list, I'm going to do service.use. We're going to be using a middleware, obviously, for express.static. And we're going to be saying /images. And we're going to say express.static, giving it the absolute path to those images that we just set up. And for that, I'm going to just, we don't have it set up yet in the config, but I'm going to use config for that. So config.data.images. So inside of config index.js, we do need to make that, get that path. And that's pretty simple. I'm going to do that for 3 of these. Home. Leave a comma. Okay, at home, let's grab that. This is called images. And our path to that is not going to be speaker.json. It's going to be to data images, right? Images, right? Images. And we're using images here, right? Okay. Everything's images. All right. Control save that. And let's make sure it's working. So let me grab a port number. Okay, our port number is this is for speaker service. This is our new port number since it restarted. Copy that, and let's make sure it's actually working. Go into the other tab, and I'm gonna say /images /speakers /wdj.jpg. I know this one for a fact is an image, and there you go. We actually have an image. We could actually grab our images using that express.static. No need for routes, but you can do it that way if you need to. Now we need to use this little route that we just have, or this route that we just created, and use it in our main application, so that way we could actually grab the images correctly, right? So let me get rid of this. Minimize. Let's go to our main application. Server, okay, get rid of that. Services, speakers.js. This is where we're going to create another method to get an image, okay? So I'm gonna just do it right above. It's gonna be the very first one. So I'm gonna say async. I'm gonna call it get image, and we're gonna give it the path what is it exactly, and you'll see how it works in a bit. And it's going to be the exact same thing. So I'm just copy this, paste it. Okay. And instead of names, it's going to be images with that path that we just set up upstairs. Path. All right. And there is one more thing we do need to add to this object, and that is called response type. And we need to set this to stream. And the reason why we need to set it to stream is because, guys, the images come in binary, so we need to set the proper response type for this. And to handle binary data, it's stream, all right? So that's the only thing. If you don't have this, it's going to throw out an error. So yeah, let's actually use this in our main application now. But before we do, I just want to make sure that you understand why how the route is supposed to look like. If we look inside our main application, still in views, let's go to speakers, detail, and index. Look at the image, all right? And look at the route that it's hitting. It's literally hitting /images /speakers and then the whatever file name, right? But let's look at, let me see, let's go to layout, index, not index, header. Where's that one we included? Oh, includes artwork. There you go, the artwork. Look at this one. Look at the route that this one hits. It's literally images and then /artwork and then the image file for that artwork, right? Well, that's the difference. That's why we had this just one path, and we're going to be specifying where is it going. Is it going to /artwork, or is it going to /speakers and then the file name, right? So that's the kind of the route that we need to make. So let's do that right now. inside of routes in our index.js, this is where I'm going to be adding that new route, okay? And it's going to be the very first one. So I'm gonna say router dot get, and for this one it's going to be /images. That's pretty much staple, and this is where it's going to be. We're going to be using parameters for this. So I'm gonna say what's the type is? What type is it? Is it speakers or is it artwork that you want to hit? And also we also need the file, right? The file name. And this has to be async, obviously. Rec, res, next. And it's going to be a try catch block. Return next with the error. All right. So in our try block, we're going to do const. We're going to try to grab the image that they want, right? So const image, we're going to say await. Where is it at again? Oh yeah, speakers. I'm like, where we set that? Speakers dot get image. Did I save it, by the way? I'm just. All right, we did save it. Okay. So await speakers dot get image, and we do need to give it that path, that one that we want, right? So that path is literally going to be rec.params. Don't forget this. rec.params.type / I'm just copy this. Copy, paste, file. Okay. As you can see now in our service speakers, we already have that /images and then the /, so we don't need to add that / right here. It's already there for us. So get image, and this is the path that we want to grab, which is going to be the if it's the speakers and then the file name, or if it's artwork and then the file name, right? So once we have that, what we want to do is, this is different, return image, and since it's a stream, we could do a pipe and pipe that response to the response object, sorry. So res. Now we can make sure if this works. We deleted everything, right? So our data, we don't have the data no more. Our public, actually, we could actually delete our artwork, so that way you can see it's working. Okay, I'm gonna cancel this because last time I did this, oh man, dude. I'm gonna grab this and this, delete it. Yes, move to recycle, delete permanently. Okay, the only thing we have in here is background. So if it works, that means that it's actually grabbing it from the service, the speaker service, and not the actual main application. So let's start everything up again. So we have service registry, our speaker service, which is great, and let's actually restart this. So yes, npm start. Moment of truth, guys. Moment of truth. And it's working. We can actually grab everything. Yes. Oh man, it's pretty exciting when you start when it starts working. But yeah, everything's working, as you could see. Now, guys, I know that this might have been confusing, so rewatch the videos if you need to. It is a lot of parts moving when it comes to microservices, because you have just services talking to one another and they're just everywhere, right? So I know it's a lot of parts, moving parts, and you need to wrap your head around how this actually works. But once you understand how it works, it actually becomes very, very simple. Okay, so anyways, that was it for this video, guys. We still need a few more things for this series, as in fault tolerance, adding a fault tolerance so that way it shuts down gracefully, and resilience, and also using queues in Node.js. So those are coming up in the next few videos. So stay tuned for that, guys. And thank you guys for watching this video. I really do appreciate you spending your time watching my videos. It means a lot to me, guys. It really does. And also, if you like the video, please consider subscribing, commenting down below, and also liking the video for the algorithm. That will really help me out. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Yes, next video. Thanks. Bye.